Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil, practicing daily and sharing my tips so we can all do better at the craps table. Today we're going to talk about how to start, what kind of dice to get, what kind of setup you need, and some of the most important things that you need in order to start your practice. I did not start off with a table. A lot of people don't have tables at home. That's just a fact. I didn't start off that way. When I first started and I started reading books about dice control and I started seeing all these things on dice control online, I wanted to get started. I wanted to have a plan on what I wanted to do. And I knew that if I just started my practice, that's all I needed. I didn't have to have a full table, nor did I ever imagine in a million years I would get a table. And we'll talk about that later. But what I did start with is I ordered some dice. And what do those dice look like? You got to get some professional dice. You can't use Yahtzee dice. You got to get some online. They're available everywhere. They come in packs of 5 like this, and they're numbered. And what you want to do is get some good quality casino type dice so that you can practice every day. I get one color is green and one pack is red. They're going to come in 5 packs, and that's probably all you would need just to start off. I also use some tables that I have to make sure that I have the right distance. And the most important part, tape measure. You need a tape measure. Make sure you're doing the right distances when you're practicing. So what does this look like? When I first started, I had a couple TV trays, I had a chair, and I had a suitcase. And what I needed to do is make sure that I am the same distance. As you can see, I am the same distance away from the wall as I am where I'm practicing. And I knew that's going to be between 8 feet and 8 feet 4 inches. This is where I like to practice from. Now, tables in casinos can be 12 feet, 14 feet, 16 feet. So you got to prepare for that. But when I'm practicing, I'm just going to stick at the 8 foot 4 inch mark so that I'm making sure I'm throwing the same way each time. That way, when you get to a table, if it's a 12-foot table like most have in the casinos, 12 to 14 feet, if I'm in the first position here, I know I'm 7 foot 6 inches away. If I'm at the second position, I'm 8'4", and if I'm here, I'm over 8'8", 8'9" inches over on this third section. So if you practice in the middle and you start sharpshooting like I practice, you can move back and forth based on where you are on the table. We'll talk about table positions in an upcoming video. But for right now, we're talking about starting out. And how did I start out? I just had a table, I had a chair, and I had a suitcase. Once I got my dice in, I measured the table, and you wanted to make sure that it's 26 inches high. Most casino tables are 26 inches high. So you want to make sure you're throwing your dice from the 26-inch part so you're throwing the same way. We're also throwing into the back wall here. So my suitcase would be about 8 feet, and then I'm making sure I'm having a good landing zone. So with my suitcase, I put a couple towels in there so that my practice would be having a chair so that I could support, just like I do when I'm at a casino. I'm having my chair here, then I have my support here, and then I'm picking a target zone and I'm throwing. Once again, getting back to the dice. When you buy your dice, I put the green on one side and the red on one side at each time. When you're practicing and you're scoring, you're writing down how you're doing, you'll be able to see what your left dice is doing and your right dice is doing. That's why we use the 2 different colors. So we'll talk about that in an upcoming video. But in the meantime, say you're starting off. How about those veterans? How did you guys start off? Please put a comment down in the feedback on how you started off throwing when you were doing dice control throwing for the first time. I was using a suitcase, and I was just trying to get my throw down. I didn't know how I was doing. I was trying to keep track. I was trying to pick a landing zone. I really didn't know a lot about what I was doing, but I'd practice like this all the time until I got my kit. Now, you can build this, or you can go online and purchase one. And this is just a box. It's not very difficult. I like this one that I purchased because I can collapse it and bring it with me if I need to. But there's no reason you couldn't figure it out on how to build this. You just need some felt. You can order all this online. You need those diamonds for the back wall. And then these have Velcro on it, so I can collapse it down into nothing and send it on its way. But after I got this, oh my God, I was in love. So I put this in my rec room, and each day when I woke up in the morning, I started throwing. And this was my landing zone. I used to put something right in the middle there. I still can see it now. I had a little tape there so that I could find my landing zone where I wanted to be. So I have my TV tray here. I have my nice box there with the wonderful diamonds in the back. And then I start throwing and practicing. And this is how you can practice each and every day. This doesn't cost too much. Don't spend a lot on it. Or you can find dimensions somewhere online on what that looks like to build. Very easy to build. Just some felt put over the bottom section. You get a rubber across the back, and then make sure you're hooking up the ends. I also like, mine came with a little felt box like this so I could throw off of the felt. But once again, this is just wood with a piece of felt stapled to the back. You can get that or you can buy it. They also make rails that you can purchase. And that way you can practice with a rail, which I loved. I love the professional ones. I used this, which is okay, but I loved having a rail one too. That's a little pricier. So all these things you can buy online, but basically, if you're just trying to get your muscle memory, or maybe you ordered it and it's going to be a few weeks to go, just get started with some dice, and you're basically just going to want to try and do your practice routines. You can do all of the practice routines that I talk about just using this, and you can grow to this. So how did I get to this? Well, one of my 4 buddies that talked me into dice control throwing, he called me one day and we're talking, and he said, I ordered a table. And I'm like, what do you mean you ordered a table? And sure enough, he bought a table. And I was like, oh my God, I never, throwing all these years on this practice table with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of throws, I never thought I'd be able to do this big monstrosity. And sure enough, my gracious wife one day said, hey, this back porch right here, we're not using it. We're not doing anything with it. Why don't you make a man cave out of that? And I was like, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, we're not using it. It's just furniture sitting out here, not doing anything. So my instant thought was craps table. So I researched the prices of it, and yeah, they're expensive. You could probably find a used one somewhere. You could find a half a one too. You don't need a full one. But I got this one, and I think the investment was very well worth it. I will post a video right now showing you my landing zone here, which is completely worn out from the years and years of throwing on it. I've ordered a new felt. Hopefully it'll be in a couple weeks so I can get my landing zone to not be so worn out. It's already got holes in it. So what do you need to start? You need some dice. You need to buy some good quality dice. And just know that these dice are going to chip and get worn out if you throw them 1,000 times. So you're going to have to order more eventually. 2, you need a setup. Now it could be a suitcase, a chair, and some TV stands. Or you can order a practice box. You could order a practice rail. These are all online and they're all affordable. Remember, you're investing into your future. You go to a casino after throwing for 30, 60, 90 days and you make some money, that money can go into upgrading your practice decks. And you start investing back into yourself, and soon enough you'll have a table like this. This was paid for from money from my practice table. And I was appreciative that I had the money allocated in to be able to afford this. But this practice table made me hundreds of dollars in the casinos and able for me to afford this. So the important thing, order your dice, order a practice rail at least, and have a tape measure. These are the three most important things you need to start off, and we hope you start off practicing and changing the way that you throw. So remember, the best betting strategy is to throw for a long time.